Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Michael Hartley with Action Coach. What needs to pivot in my business, kickstart your day, get you refocused, because business is changing daily right now. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to What Needs to Pivot today. And I'm Dr. Michael Hartley. I'm a non-medical type of doctor. I operate on business, and today's topics are your mindset, where are we going with this whole thing, and step 3, day 3 on your routine. The consistent rituals and habits that you get yourself into to be super productive and successful right now and in the future. You see, it takes 30 to 66 days to build a true new habit, a true new routine. By the time you get to month 3 of doing something consistently, it is now shifted your identity. It's now shifted who you are, how you operate, and it's just what you do now. So we want you to be focused on building the routine that you need every single day for the next 30 to 66 days to build this the way it needs to be. And so that way we can then allow it to just be who we are. You will find yourself being more productive when it just becomes what you do versus trying to have to think about it or forcing yourself to do it and things like that. So let's get kicked off. If you're not connected with us, get connected with us. We put a whole bunch of free content out there for you to leverage and to use. This is just a little sample of what our overall kind of stuff is. So if you're not connected with us, get connected and let's get jumped in. So from chaos to control, we're looking here at our mindset and what do we allow into our brains every single day? What are we doing here? If we're not controlling what goes into our eyes, what goes into our ears, what our mindset is, what we're thinking about every single day, we've lost the one thing that we actually can maintain, the one thing that we can truly control, which is what we think, what we allow versus what other people push us into or push onto us. Candidly, even at that level, we're allowing them to do that. So where's your mindset at? And I have a very simple question. I'll never forget. I joined a Lifetime Gym a while back, and at the time they had this promotion going on, like campaign, if you will. It wasn't really like a buy this type promotion. It was more of a campaign to make you think a little bit differently. And they asked one question. That one question was, "What is your after?" So my question to you today is, what is your after? Right now, when we look at kind of the way that the world is changing so rapidly, when this chapter of life is over, and it's a chapter and it will be done, it'll be done in the next, this part of the chapter will be done in the next month or so. And then we'll get into the next chapter, and then that'll be for, 3 months or so, and then we'll get after that one. My question to you is, in a month and a half, what's your after going to look like? What are you choosing for it to be right now? And make no mistake, you're making the choice. You are making the choice of what you're doing right now, the routine you're building or not routine, or the routine you're not building, candidly. I'll never, when I joined the gym, I got a personal trainer and he asked me, he goes, "Okay, so how many days a week will you be coming into the gym? How many days will you be working out?" I was like, I think I'm gonna start with 3. I think that's an achievable target. He goes, "Okay, so there's 7 days of the week. You're committing to 3. So you're intentionally breaking your routine 4 days out of the week." I was like, "Oh man, yeah, okay." I never thought of it like that. He goes, "Yeah, I mean, let's be honest with it. You are breaking your ability to build a routine more days out of the week than you're actually doing it. So what are the things that you could do on the other 4 days from home just to have some sort of consistency? Same time every single day. Even if you don't make it in, you shouldn't just make it in. It's that simple. But if you're not going to make it in, what could you do at home at that same time? So that way you're still getting into the routine. You're not breaking it or intentionally breaking it." I was like, okay, so we put a plan in place, and I ended up going a little more often than 3 days a week, which ended up working well because now that we're working from home, I was able to bring all that and just do it from here, which was cool. So my question to you is, the routine you're building right now, or the routine that you're breaking right now, is going to lead to what your after looks like. What's the after that you want to have? Mindset, skill set, action, results. How does that all align with the dreams that you have? everything must align with what that ultimate goal is, or you're just kind of swaying in the wind. So, truly, what does your after look like? What do you want it to be? You're making the choice right now. Whether you like it or not, you're making the choice. So, choose your after, which gets us into the routine that we're building. The routine that we are going to be building on a consistent basis. So, let's dive into what these are. First thing, start small. We got to start small. Daily, specific things that we are focused on. It's why when we're coaching our clients, we let them know we're going to focus on the daily things first. And then from there, we can start focusing. Once we get the daily things down, then we can focus on the weekly, maybe then the monthly, then the quarterly focuses. Right now, we got to get down to being successful with the daily focus. Excellence is about accruing these incremental improvements daily. You're not going to necessarily see a 50% shift tomorrow. What you can see is 1% improvements. And when you go 1% after 1% after 1%, they accrue over time. And then we start to see critical mass take place. And we see that in all sorts of life. When you have incremental shifts until critical mass hits, and then all of a sudden the floodgates open. So focus on what you need to be doing consistently every single day. Then we got to get into the trajectory versus your current position. So we're not focused on where we're at in this moment. We're going to make decisions to help us get out of the current position. We got to be focused though on the long-term trajectory. Where is this whole thing going? Because what happens is James Clear, I had a chance to introduce him. I was at a conference and he was speaking, and I had the opportunity to get up on the stage and kind of introduce him. He states that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And that's why we are coaching you. It's why I'm teaching you how to create a system for your routine. All of these things should be a systems-based approach that can be repeated over and over and over again. It's why I'm able to teach you, because it is a system. Every single person who's listening and watching this can take this system and implement it. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. So how strong are your systems? How aligned are your desired outcomes with your daily routine? That's why we talk a lot about your physical environment matters here, because there's a few things that we have to look at. What are those cues in our life? The things that trigger us doing something. If you sleep with your phone next to your bed, chances are as soon as you wake up, you're looking at your phone. Now, if you left your phone at the farthest place in your apartment or your home from your bed, you'd actually have to go get the phone every single morning. You see, where you choose to put things will help dictate the routine that you build. It's the cue. Then we got to look at the things that help us predict what's going to compel us or push us towards taking action. So then we actually have to do something with it. We have to actually make a choice to put something in place in that physical environment that's going to push us towards taking action. It's so interesting. When you look at where we're going versus where we are now, it's very easy to be focused on where we're at right now. And so if that's where you're at right now, make sure that you have at least a portion of your day focused on how does what I'm doing right now push me towards the long-term trajectory I want? Am I getting a 1% increase today? And then I'm going to get a 1% increase tomorrow, and then a 1% increase the next day, because the cost of bad habits are in the future. I want you to really think about that for a second. Put the video back on for a second here. I want you to really think about this. The cost of bad habits is in the future. The cost of good habits is in the present. Meaning, you have bad habits right now. The cost of bad habits right now are costing you your future, the trajectory, where you're going. The cost of good habits, having good habits, building this new routine right now, the cost of good habits is in the present. Because it's going to take a 1% increase over a 1% increase. You're going to start this routine and nothing is going to necessarily feel different right away. For some it might, for most it won't. So when we understand that building this new routine, the cost of that is in the present, meaning it's going to take a little bit of time to build momentum to get to that critical mass piece where it's like incremental change, incremental change, incremental change, critical mass hits, and now it starts to do the hockey stick kind of curve up. So allow yourself to focus on the fact that by building this routine right now, you are building the better future for where you're headed. All right. So we got to make things obvious and easy and attractive for us to actually do, or otherwise we're not going to do them. That brings us to the next point, which is have a system. You must have a system. That's why we're coaching you through creating a system. What are the things that you need to do to remind yourself to follow the system until it becomes a routine? What are the things that you need to shift in your physical environment, your social environment, that are going to help you build this routine instead of break yourself from doing it? I want you to take a massive goal and identify the very first domino in it. What's the first thing that's going to cause me to actually do something? We talked about this yesterday about putting, starting. We actually talked about this all 3 days this week about putting something in place when you're creating your action list the night before, putting something in place that helps you take action and remove the barrier for tomorrow. It's that first domino. It's so critically important as you look to build the routine. Once the routine is built, it's a lot easier to maintain it. Until the routine is truly built, ingrained into who you are, we must be putting things in place to help that first domino fall. And it must be established before it can be improved. What we are doing must be established, solid foundation for our day, every single day, before we can actually improve it, before we can even test it. We test and measure everything that we do, from our time to the actions we take, to the activities we do, to our routine, to the marketing strategies we implement, to the systems we document. Before we can improve something, we have to establish it, because then we can properly test and measure it out. So what's going to be your after? Don't break the routine. Stick to it every single day. And if you are going to miss, if you're going to break your routine, whether it's intentionally or not, never break it twice in a row. Never break your routine 2 days in a row. Chances are you may never go back to it. Unless you have someone holding you, you're accountable, going, okay, come on. We said we were going to do this. What are we doing? Never break it 2 days in a row. Always maintain focus. Always maintain that routine. Become committed to it. Commit yourself to it. Think about the reasons for why you are doing this. And if you haven't had a chance to watch any of the past episodes, they're all on YouTube. Go watch them there. We must build a strong routine. We're giving you some tools and resources to use. We're going to give you a free one at the end of this whole thing on Friday to implement. If you're watching this online, then we'll put the link on Friday's episode into the notes. We want you to be as successful as you want to be. And what I'll share with you is it starts here. It starts every single morning on how you start the day and then how you finish the day. Everything in between can shift and be tweaked and be tested and be measured. The start of your day and the end of your day are the most important. So we got to make sure that we start strong, that we start with energy, that we start with enthusiasm, that we start with a positive mindset, that we remove distractions, that we become focused. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. James Clear. So what are 2 things that you know you need to pivot in creating your proper routine today? Please type them into the chat or into the comments. We want to see where you're at, what you're doing. When you find value in these things, if you are sitting here watching this right now that means that you're finding value, which means that you should be inviting at least one other person every single day to jump into this as well. Again, whether it's online, recorded, whether it is live with us every single weekday morning, regardless, if you find value, you must invite at least one other person to jump into this thing. Everybody needs this, myself included. I'm fortunate enough to have years of building strong routines. And guess what? I still have coaches that help point out the blind spots in me to shift what I need to do. Because as my businesses grow, as I grow, so do my routines need to. I can't have the same routine that I had 3 years ago. My routine must update as I must become a different person. The 18-year-old me is a lot different than the me today, the dad version of me, the business owner of me, the team leader of me. The B of me, has needed to shift who I am. And so has my routine. And so your routine today will be different than what it is 5 years from now. And that's okay. The key thing is that your routine today is building towards a trajectory of where you're going. 1% increases over and over again. So type into the chat in the comments one thing that you got out of today, or two things that you need to pivot. Your choice. I want to understand where you're at right now. If you have questions, type them in. We'll answer them. If not, make it a phenomenal rest of your week. And if you don't have a proper plan, on the 29th, Wednesday the 29th, we are going to be sitting down creating your next 30-day sprint for your business. Go to don'townajob.com. All the information is right there, along with a handful of other free resources we have. If you're looking to connect with us, I guarantee we have something for you there, whether that is a complimentary 20-minute call, a 2-hour session, or jumping into our online learning. We have a handful of things that we're looking to provide to you. Get plugged in somewhere, and then start building your routine the way it truly needs to be. I'm Dr. Michael Hartley. I'm here to elevate your business, enhance your lifestyle, and I will see you all tomorrow. Type in the chat what you got out of today, and make it a great one.